Buddy, welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Welcome back to the Wednesday night fantasy football show. Last year, calling it the Ranking Show. We now have a podcast called the Ranking Show. We are in between seasons right now, but definitely go and listen to that. If you are on YouTube right now, we have a playlist. We have a bunch of Ranking Show. We ranked a bunch of stuff from Pop-Tarts to NFL draft hats, all kinds of stuff there. Tonight, we are going to be going over some fantasy rankings. I think for the most part, on Wednesday nights, we will be focusing on, of course, the chat. Any questions that come in, we will prioritize that. But we are going to be talking about other fantasy football news, stuff like that, injuries, midweek, lineup, stuff like that for the most part. But it's week one. A lot of questions about rankings, a lot of questions about who's a good play, who's a bad play, certain situations. And obviously, there aren't that many injuries aside from the Kyle Pitts hamstring injury, I suppose. But if you've listened to us before, you already know we don't really like Kyle Pitts anyway. But we will answer questions. If you have Kyle Pitts questions, fire away. Luke Reimer's in the middle. Trevor Land's on the right. I am Zach Bruner. Let's talk about rankings for week one. If you go to flurrysports.org, you can find my rankings. They should be number one, the first thing on there. And actually, I will jump into the YouTube chat right now as well. And I will drop my rankings there as well. I just need to find them on Flurry Sports, but definitely go and follow along there because we're not going to be reading them top to bottom. We will be looking at the rankings. We will be talking about the biggest ones, the top ones. There you go. Link is in the chat there. But then mostly we will be comparing to the consensus. We'll be looking at where we are higher, where we are lower than the consensus, because you can find rankings anywhere, but you are here for our analysis, obviously. So that it makes sense, obviously. So we're going to tell you who we are higher and lower on. But for week one quarterbacks, this was one of the easier positions to rank. I think I told you guys running backs, wide receivers was a fucking nightmare. But the number one quarterback, we're going to just play it safe. We got Josh Allen. He's the goal line back. He is going to throw the ball. He plays an easier defense in Arizona. Actually, I'm on my draft rankings right now. I do still think I went with Josh Allen, though. No, I went with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts in Brazil versus the Packers is 1. Josh Allen versus the Cardinals is 2. Patrick Mahomes tomorrow night versus the Ravens is 3. All three of those guys are at home. On the opposite side of that Thursday game, we got Lamar Jackson at 4 against the Chiefs. And then I am going Anthony Richardson at 5, home against the Texans. Obviously, Anthony Richardson completed 1 full game last year, but he looked absolutely electric for fantasy football when he did play. So, if there's any week to play Anthony Richardson for season long, for DFS, for anything, fucking put him in a lineup.
Yeah, now's the
only week that. Yeah, this is the only week we can guarantee that he's going to be healthy. So I love him as a play. We can talk about other weird DFS plays maybe later on as well. But is there anybody there that stands out? Is there anybody lower in the rankings that you think that raises an eyebrow to you that's too high, too low? Luke.
Like you said, kind of that week one, I feel like it's a little bit easier to rank quarterbacks. I think, especially talking to that Anthony Richardson idea, like if you're like right now is enough for running quarterbacks, right? Like, this is maybe the only week that they're all going to be healthy. I love Jalen Hurts at 1. Like, I know that the teams are different than the last time they played, but skeletons of the offense and defense are kind of, pretty much the same. Philadelphia ran for 350 yards in that game, and Jalen Hurts counted for 180, maybe more than that. So I would imagine this is a big Jalen Hurts running game.
I mean, this Philadelphia offensive line, they are smart in the way they constructed it. Does anybody know who their right guard is here? It's Becton.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like the whole thing. I mean, obviously we've talked about offensive line a lot here in draft stuff, where it's like, I don't think this guy can really move. We should just put him inside. The Eagles said, fuck it. We don't care about leverage. We don't care about height. Let's put him in the middle where he just has to move bodies. So he's a 6'8", I think, right guard.
Yep.
Their left guard, I think, is 6'7". Their second smallest offensive lineman is Lane Johnson. They are absolute mammoths. And if there's one thing this team's going to be very good at doing, it's just moving bodies a la tush push, a la third down conversions, goal line, anything like that. Pass blocking, you can say they're going to be vulnerable to interior stunts and stuff. But if I'm the Eagles, and I'm seeing Rashawn Gary, who's notably bad on the right side at defending the run, and you have Lane Johnson and Becton right there. That's 5 yards minimum every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Jalen Hurts could have a hat trick for rushing touchdowns. Why not? It's going to be easy. It's going to be easy mode. But so yeah, clearly love him. Trevor, anybody that stands out to you there?
Not really. I just want to see what Anthony Richardson does. I don't think they tell him to change his game completely, obviously. But I want to see if he's a little smarter with running the ball, like not taking big ass hits. Because if he's still running out there taking big hits in week 1, then I'm selling him in every single league that I have him.
Yeah, theoretically, he's going to be a little bit better at that. I think he torched the Texans last year as well, if I remember correctly. I believe that the Colts beat the Texans, so I think that's what happened there. In terms of quarterbacks I am higher on than the consensus, I'm pretty aligned with the consensus for most of it, just a couple spots higher or lower. But I'm 3 spots higher on Matthew Stafford going to Detroit in a primetime game. I have him at 13. I mean, again, the Rams always have one pass catcher out. Right now it's Tyler Higbee. So that's like the best case scenario, I think. He has a healthy Cooper Kupp, a healthy Puka Nacua, and then he's also got Demarcus Robinson. He's got Whittington or whatever his name is. Like they got some good weapons. Detroit's secondary is still not the greatest secondary, and Stafford's pissed off. Stafford wants revenge for many reasons. So I think this is a nice Stafford game. And then I'm 3 spots higher on Gardner Minshew. It's not saying much. I have him at 28, but I can't imagine Gardner Minshew throwing to Devontae Adams as the second worst quarterback in fantasy this week. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
In terms of lower, I have Jordan Love at 12, which is 3 spots lower. Consensus has him as a top 10 guy. I'm 3 spots lower on Dak Prescott at 18. I'm just not too bullish on him with CeeDee Lamb possibly not being fully up to speed. And then I have Russell Wilson at 30, which is 3 spots lower. I'm not fully convinced that this isn't going to be. I really think the Steelers have special packages for Justin Fields. So I think Russ is going to surrender some touchdowns because of that. Anybody there that you guys want to talk about?
I do you think that this is a game for like the Steelers, right? For Russell Wilson, maybe you start by it's kind of tough to make this argument given who they have offense coordinator. You know they're going to want to establish a run, but I almost wonder if they come out slinging the ball with Russell Wilson, and because I feel like the whole narrative of the Steelers and Russell Wilson is combined is like just the pass game's fallen off. They're kind of that hard nosed team. I wouldn't put them past them if we see maybe 3-4 pass attempts within the first couple plays for Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's going to take shots in this game. To your point, Arthur Smith, it's an Arthur Smith revenge game. He's going to want to run the ball, and I think they are going to run the ball well with Arthur Smith calling plays. But they're going to try to lull the defense into sleep and take shots. It's tough to take shots against the best safety duo in the NFL. But Arthur Smith was criticized for not passing the ball well. He was criticized for not taking shots. He was criticized for all of that in Atlanta. So if he can kind of say, hey, fuck you, it's because I had Desmond Ridder as my quarterback and I was forced to play Desmond Ridder. He would love to do that, I'm sure. But it comes down to, again, who are they going to take shots with? Atlanta, I would assume, would cheat towards George Pickens. So can Van Jefferson burn them? We shall see. I think Van Jefferson's kind of sneaky, especially for DFS, but we'll see. Who knows?
So you have him and Bo Nix right next to each other. Bo Nix in your first start, you like more than Russell Wilson possibly taking shots?
For sure. I think Bo Nix, I want to put Bo Nix higher. There's just too many quarterbacks I like this week. But like I said, Russell Wilson may pass for fucking 300 yards, but then they're going to put Justin Fields in a Taysom Hill role in the red zone. Why wouldn't they? Like, that's what I would do if I were the Steelers. If they want to get him he's one of the best players that they have. So use his legs. Makes too much sense to me. And obviously Arthur Smith is no stranger to having special, unique, creative offensive packages with Cordell Patterson, the Joker role. And he's also still there. So it'll be interesting. Anybody else at quarterback we want to talk about?
I wanted to talk a little bit about Baker Mayfield. And maybe this is kind of more of and I know we're kind of doing week to week, just as like a season long projection. We've kind of talked a little bit about the Buccaneers, but are you guys fall in the middle of the kind of down the road there where it's maybe kind of a QB2 range for Baker Mayfield this year? Like it feels like weapons are enough there. He really, like Zach, you had mentioned it. Like this is really his first offseason in like his career that there's like no change at all. It feels like Baker Mayfield can have a much better year than he did last year.
100%. Offensive line's better too.
Yeah,
it's a better situation for Baker, and everyone's acting like it's a worse situation. Foreshadowing for my underdog pick later. But yeah, I like it a lot. And week one offenses are going to be wanting to do what they feel like they're best at, things they practice the most, things they're comfortable with. So if we're talking about a team with the exact same players essentially back, already know the offense, already have chemistry, already have all of that, Buccaneers may be one of the teams in the league this week that are furthest ahead in their passing game, to be completely honest, especially against a defense that doesn't scare you in Washington.
Right.
So, yeah, I like it.
At least from fantasy, Baker was pretty good last year, too. I mean, he had a good season. I mean, I think if you took him undrafted or in the last round, I don't think you're really losing out on much.
No, and there's no pressure. Like, it's his job. There's no pressure behind him, which, again, is one of the first seasons possibly that you can say that about Baker. There's always pressure. Maybe that, and I don't think it's a situation at this point anymore where he feels safe and content and now he can just sit and count his money. Like, that's gone. This is a more mature Baker Mayfield. And now that he has some sort of preparation, some sort of comfortability, we could see a very good season, a sneaky season. Running backs, it's really not a surprise at number one. I have Christian McCaffrey versus the Jets at number one. And then on the other side, I have Breece Hall versus at the 49ers at number two. This is half PPR scoring. That's what Fantasy Pros grades me on. I have Bijan at 3 versus the Steelers. I don't like it. I have Saquon at 4 versus the Packers. It's okay. We'll see where touchdowns go. And then I have Jonathan Taylor at 5 versus the Texans. Certainly a case to be made for Taylor to go higher. It's just I've seen Jonathan Taylor look really fucking bad at football lately. So we'll see what he does. But what do you guys think about that 5?
I would make the case that Jonathan Taylor is probably ahead of a Bijan. And I feel like I come on here and say the same thing, every time we're on the show. I mean, on the Colts, I think the run game gets going. If Anthony Richardson gets going, that's only going to open up holes for Jonathan Taylor. And to that point about Anthony Richardson, this is maybe his only week that he's going to be, fully healthy and going to be running. So that screams, open 3 gaps, open 4 gaps, open 5 gaps for Jonathan Taylor to me.
In theory, you should be correct. We'll see. Trevor, any of those guys stand out?
Yeah, I guess, how excited are you guys? I guess not even for week 1, but overall for Bijan this year in terms of development in PPR or half PPR. Like, do you think he gets that much more work, that many more touchdowns? Obviously we know he's going to get more work, but like, will that produce into more touchdowns, I guess is what I'm asking. As somebody who, right before CeeDee Lamb signed his contract, took Bijan over CeeDee Lamb.
I think on a percentage basis, he'll have the exact same amount of work. I think he'll have a better production because the offense is going to be better. And it's just because it's Kirk Cousins. Like it,
right.
I think the play caller is worse. I think it's still a good offensive line, but if you can move the ball and be in the red zone, you're going to score more touchdowns. But it's not going to be a situation where it's like now Bijan Robinson's let off the leash and it was Arthur Smith holding him back. It's just going to be, it's still timeshare. It's still a 2-headed monster. It's probably a 70-30 split, 60-40.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I was going to bring Tyler Algier is still there, and Tyler Algier is still a very good running back. So I think a lot of people are expecting Bijan to bump up to Adrian Peterson numbers this year, which is crazy considering how good of a player. Tyler Algier is not going to be off the field for the entire game. Raheem Morris has already said that he's part of the game plan. He's going to be used. While Bijan is a great player, I do think just based off of being a better team, he probably sees better numbers. But to your point, Zach, I don't know that the split is any different than it was last year.
There's really no reason for it to be.
Right.
I mean, we'll see later in the year. Maybe December he'll have a heavier workload just because it's like win now mode, and theoretically they're going to be a team that's actually competing for something. But whatever. In terms of compared to the consensus, I'm very different on some players. I'm high on Rashad White at 7, 4 higher, 4 higher on Kenneth Walker at 8. Again, Kenneth Walker is one of those players that I think is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL who is absolutely never healthy. So if you want to play him, this is the week to play him. And he plays a Broncos defense that's just not very talented. Aaron Jones, again, he's healthy. I have him at 15, and I kind of want to put him higher. It's just I don't believe in the Vikings very much. James Conner at 13, that's 5 higher. Jerome Ford at 21, that's 6 higher. I hate Jerome Ford. I don't know why everyone else is so low on him. Like, there's nobody else. They've already said that he's going to be the bell cow. Why are we now ranking him low?
Yeah.
Gus Edwards at 29 is 4 higher. He's going to score a touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott at 31 is 7 higher. Why is the consensus at 38 for Zeke? Can anyone tell me that?
No, nobody can tell you that.
I don't understand.
Because it's crazy.
It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what people are doing. That's about it for higher. I'm 7 lower on Jahmyr Gibbs at 14. People have him at 7 overall. And again, people are going to be upset by how much David Montgomery is going to be used, and I don't know why it's a surprise. James Cook, I'm 6 lower at 19. Will he score a touchdown? I think it would be a surprise to me if he scores 5 rushing touchdowns this season.
I would say 5. if I'm betting, I'm betting under probably half a touchdown every single week for James Cook.
Yeah, for sure. He's not going to score. Zamir White, I'm 6 lower. I'm probably too low there. 4 lower on Tony Pollard at 33. I just don't believe in him to score touchdowns. That's it. I mean, there's nothing interesting. Brian Robinson Jr., that's interesting. I'm 6 lower on Brian Robinson Jr. at 36, which means the consensus has Brian Robinson Jr. above Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, I like Brian Robinson Jr. this year, but I mean, ahead of Zeke is crazy. Like, once again, Zeke is the running back 1 in a top 5 offense that's going to be in the red zone almost all year.
Yeah. This isn't why is everyone doubting the Cowboys this much? I think they're dysfunctional. I think they're not as good as last year, but everyone's like, man, Giants could actually beat them in the division. And that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's such a stupid thing to say. They're going to win close to 10 games.
Yeah.
And Dak's going to be good. And this offense is going to be good. And Zeke is the starting running back. Some people may think it's Rico Dowdle for some reason. Rico Dowdle's quickly going to be running back 3.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle's not very good at football either.
He's fine. He's nothing. He is Boston Scott. And Boston Scott's done stuff. He's Brandon Bolden. Brandon Bolden's fine. Like, whatever. Brandon Bolden's ruined my day a few times, but he's not a game changer. Yeah. Any other running backs you want to talk about?
Yes, I have a couple questions here. One, I see Chuba Hubbard and Ramondre Stevenson are a little different. Is that because of the Saints defense or Ramondre Stevenson getting work in the passing game out of the backfield down Biggie in Cincinnati?
It feels like Jacoby Brissett will check down to him a lot, and it feels like Ramondre Stevenson's going to push for close to 25 touches. Like, I have zero doubts about Stevenson's volume. He could have 25 touches for 50 yards and be terrible. But at least right now, I'm just going to follow volume. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. Carolina, like, to me, just stay everything away from Carolina this year. At least to start the year. Chuba Hubbard's not a needle pusher to me. He gets talked up, because all these guys go down with injuries, and then all of a sudden he's a starting running back. And I mean, has he produced other than a couple games in his career? To that point, like, I'm with you on the projection just for the touches alone. I think Cincinnati's probably an easier team to run against in New Orleans, anyways. And I don't think Jacoby Brissett, takes major plays in this game. Like, he's taking everything the defense is going to give him. And I would imagine that's probably, Ramondre Stevenson turning out 3-4 yards 20 to 25 times.
And I mean, Chuba Hubbard could end up having I mean, last year he had a couple multi-touchdown games, I think. Like, I think he's going to finish fine. I think he's a fine start this week. Like, he's a low-end RB2. If he's your flex, I think you're doing fine. But, like, if you look at every player above him, other than maybe Jerome Ford, I think every player above him is for sure more talented. And obviously on better offenses because he's on Carolina. So it's just like Najee Harris could have a bad game, but I am not ranking Najee Harris below him. I would not be able to sleep if Najee has like a 3-touchdown game.
Next question for you guys. I need to fill a running back and a flex spot. This is in our Yahoo League. I'm obviously starting Cook, but I have Javonte, Chuba, and a questionable Jordan Addison.
I mean, I think Jordan Addison's going to be fine, but Chuba and Javonte have obvious volume.
Yeah, I'm going Javonte
just
here.
There. Yeah, that's fair. I'd go those two. What is up, Randy? The phenomenal and magnificent Trevor, Luke, and Zach. I appreciate that.
Is he calling Trevor phenomenal and magnificent, and then just us nothing?
It does seem like that.
Yeah,
it does seem like that. He capitalized it too, so he really wanted to emphasize it.
What up, Randy? Good to have you.
Yeah, always good, always good. Any other running back discussion or questions? People you like, dislike?
No, like you said, it's just so confusing. It feels like, and I feel like I say this every time we do week 1 rankings. We'll kind of know a little bit. Obviously, we'll know a little bit more after week 1, but it feels like it'd be a little easier to kind of forecast moving forward.
This goes along with when we were in the draft stuff. Obviously, I said multiple times, I think, how deep I believe RB2 is this year, and you can just wait at RB2. Looking at it, like there's 30 players that I feel very, very, very comfortable starting, and there's another 10 where I feel okay. Like I have J.K. Dobbins at 38, and like maybe he'll start slow. Maybe they'll give him a limited workload, but it wouldn't surprise me even a tiny bit if J.K. Dobbins is a top 15, top 12 guy in a month. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's some really good players. The Bengals guys are below there. I mean, Austin Eckler's been a mainstay in fantasy. I have him at 35. I don't believe in him a ton, but if he's your flex in like a PPR league, I think you're doing good.
Yeah.
Question for you guys, another running back I just thought of. Where do you guys fall in the Samaje Perine hype now that he's in Kansas City? Do you fall in line with the people who are like, he's immediately bad for Pacheco? Are you like, he's not even a factor, or are you guys somewhere in the middle?
Luke, you can go first.
Exciting. Yeah, I mean, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, where people were going all crazy, right? When they had Darrell Williams or whoever it was, and they signed LaShawn McCoy, and that kind of ate away at it. I don't necessarily know that's the case. Like Isaiah Pacheco worked last year. Zach, we've been talking about for how many days now. Like Kansas City's going to have to throw the ball here. I think Perine sees the field. I think he sees the field in somewhat of a Jerick McKinnon role, maybe not to the point of, getting, having plays designed for him, but I don't think he's off the field. In maybe second drive, third down position, coming for a pass block, coming for a check down, and maybe even the screen. But I don't think I'm too worried about Pacheco's production with Perine on the field.
I think the Chiefs wished Jerick McKinnon was a little bit of a better pass blocker. Like I think that's the reason why he's not there anymore. Obviously, he's electric with the ball in his hands. He's more athletic with the ball in his hands than Perine. But Perine's such a good pass blocker. Like I think they went with Pacheco on third downs just sort of by default, just to have a threat of the run because they ran the ball so well last year. If they get in a situation where they're passing a ton, I think Pacheco is going to be on the sideline. So like, does it affect him a lot? I'm in the middle. I don't think Perine's going to be like a viable fantasy option, but I think he's going to take snaps, and I think he's going to be in there to pass block a lot.
So do you think the Chiefs get into a lot of situations this year where they absolutely have to pass?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a much better passing team this year. So I think they're going to throw the ball a lot more than last year. And I think their defense is worse. So I think that's going to hurt them too.
I ask because for Perine, I have him on one of my benches at a home league. I figured, why not take a flyer, see what happens against Baltimore. But also, like, for some deeper leagues, I was telling people, pick him up in the 16th round, of 14, 16 people league because, is he great? No, but, he could do some stuff from time to time that makes him decent enough to at least stash.
Chiefs' first 3 games, too. People are going to hit the panic button on the Chiefs. Like, I could see them losing a couple of these games. They play Baltimore. Then they play the Bengals, who always beat them in the regular season. And then they go to Atlanta, which is going to be a tough game. To the Chargers is probably going to be tough. Home against the Saints, bye, and then at the 49ers. People are going to be like, Chiefs don't got it. They're going to be panicking after 6 weeks or whatever, and then they're going to win out. But
you just said the narrative of every Chiefs team of the last 6 years.
Every year. That's why I refuse to bet their Super Bowl odds, because it's going to be better than it is now.
Yeah.
And then you know who they play after that? Las Vegas, Tampa Bay. That'll be kind of tough. Denver, Buffalo, Carolina, Las Vegas again.
Yeah.
They're going to win every single one of those games by about 10 points.
Yeah.
At least.
It's every year. It's every year.
Also,
Jonathan's got a question.
Oh, I was going to say, Elias, if you're still here, put your team in there. I don't know if you saw her. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Jonathan, pick up Deontay Johnson, Thielen, Palmer, or DeAndre Hopkins. And DeAndre Hopkins practiced today. If people didn't see that, practicing Wednesday, and should be a full go. If DeAndre Hopkins always practices, he's a warrior. He plays through everything. So I can only assume he plays. And for that reason, I'm firing him up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's the best player here.
And I don't think one, right?
Yeah, it's not particularly close either.
I will say I'm really high on Deontay Johnson this year. I think he's going to be a safety valve for Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young has to get a little better. I don't think Canales is great, but I think Young does a little better. I think he's second on this list, but I don't think he's anywhere near D-Hop.
Over under 3.5 touchdowns for Deontay Johnson this year.
I'm hammering the under. Like over under 3.5 touchdowns for Carolina this year.
Yeah, I think Deontay Johnson could have 1,200 yards. I don't think he's going to sniff the end zone.
I think he'll have 3 exactly. Like, if you're in the red zone, he's not the target you're looking for, I don't think.
I don't think they will be.
And Trevor, I agree with you that Deontay Johnson, it could be a safety valve for Carolina.
For sure.
But what does that even mean?
I mean, PPR versus half PPR is a big difference. Like, PPR, I love him. I think he's a great wide receiver 3. We start getting to half PPR, not so much.
And they keep saying he's the featured role. He's the featured role. That means he's playing outside. He's playing a brand new position.
Yeah.
So if he's the featured role and they're actually going to push him to the outside, I can promise you he's not going to be seeing that many targets because he is not going to be outside corners.
If he plays in the outside, he is not getting 2 touchdowns this season.
No, and they probably need Thielen as the underneath slot guy because he's the only reliable receiver they got. And he's good. People are sleeping on him too. I like Deontay more than Thielen, though, for Jonathan, since he mentioned both of them. Other running backs, A-Chain I ranked him 9. I think I'm a little bit lower than other people. What's our confidence level on A-Chain week 1?
I mean, I have some confidence. Like, it's not totally out. Like, he's going to be on the field. But once again, the touchdown leader of last year is still there. He's still going to get the first crack. He's still going to get the carries inside. He's going to get the, probably the stretches. I think A-Chain probably sees, a 10, 15 touch game for, I don't know, maybe 70 yards and a touchdown. I think that's his ceiling.
There are 2 guys that I don't understand the common viewpoint of coming into the season. That's how apparently everybody hates Zamir White, like he just killed their grandma. And Devon A-Chain, I think he's way too high too. I like him. He's a good talent, but everybody acts like he's suddenly going to continue to get 200 yards per game every game of the season. Also, McDaniel saying they go with the hot hand. I don't know how much I'm buying that, but I think Jalen Wright could possibly play a role in here too. To your point, Luke, Mostert led the league in touchdowns. He's going to be there again. And if he gets hurt, Devon A-Chain's not a workhorse. So I like him like this week, but I think we need to punt the brakes on guys taking him. I've seen some late first round, early second round. I think that's ludicrous.
Jonathan asks, is Corum worth sitting on, or should I drop to get more depth at wide receiver? I'm going to speculate right now because you just asked that if you should pick up DeAndre Hopkins or Deontay Johnson, which suggests your league is very small. Like if you're picking up those types of people. So I don't think you need to drop people to get depth at wide receiver if you can pick up those guys. Instead, I'd hold on to Corum because if Kyren Williams goes down hurt, Corum could become the de facto RB1.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Okay. Wide receivers have PPR, remember. We got Tyreek Hill at number 1 versus the Jags. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown versus the Rams at 2. Justin Jefferson at the Giants 3. AJ Brown versus the Packers in Brazil at 4. And I do have CeeDee Lamb at the Browns at 5. I think they are going to force him the ball. We'll see what he does with it. It does seem like he is the type of player to have a huge game after all of this and say sort of fuck you to all the doubters, but could go the opposite direction as well. Luke, what's your thoughts on those 5 guys?
I might even make the case for CeeDee Lamb to be a little bit higher. Brandon Cook's status is still, way up in the air here. We know
practice today, I will say.
Okay. But we do know that Dallas wants to pass the ball, and I totally agree with you. Like feels like a perfect Jerry Jones situation with all this drama going on in the offseason. Let's just give him, 25 targets in this game and have him finish 18 for 230 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, earn your money.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page with Luke, so you want to just go over to Elias's question? Oh, he didn't tell us the trade yet.
Yeah, let us know the trade and we'll answer you, Elias. People are forgetting this. Go ahead, and then I'll make my point that you're going to love Luke.
Is it about CeeDee Lamb? Because I'm going to move to another player. Okay.
Yeah, tell me the player.
There's no worry about Tyreek Hill for injuries or anything.
No. This is his time. This is when Miami puts up a bunch of points. It's hot out. Go ahead and do that. Elias wants to know, looking at this team, should I trade Najee and Tank Dell for Mark Andrews? His tight end is currently Brock Bowers. His running backs are Etienne James Conner, Najee Pollard, Trey Benson, Algier. And his wide receivers are C.D. Harrison, Tank Dell, Brian Thomas. Yeah, I would do it. I'm not relying on Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I don't want Brock Bowers at all. Like, there's been one good rookie tight end season ever, and that was Sam Laporta last year. I mean, and that was, a top 3 offense in the NFL, top 4 offense in the NFL. Like, the only guy you want on the Raiders is Devontae Adams. So, no, I'm not doing this. Not at all.
I'm a little hesitant.
No, you are doing this, right? He would be getting Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm a little hesitant just because I see James Conner in there. I'm not super high on Marvin Harrison. Obviously, he's got Ayuk on his bench. I wonder how deep the team is, or the league is. Obviously, he's got Pollard there on his bench and stuff.
And Trey
Benson. A lot of
great
wide receivers on his bench. It's a lot. I'm not as big on Mark Andrews as other people. I think I'd still do it. It's Najee and Dell is definitely isn't an overpay. That's his question. Is Najee and Dell not an overpay? It's not an overpay. I guess I'd probably do it. I'd just be very worried about Etienne and James Conner because if James Conner goes down,
he's got Trey Benson
too. I don't know
if James Conner goes down, Trey Benson's a top 12 running back.
I don't know if I can see that yet. And so I'm still a little out on it. I think Trey Benson's going to be very good. I don't know if I'd put him top 12 if James Conner goes down. That's my hesitation, but I'd still do it.
I think too, in a 10-man league like this, if you can just stack stars, you're going to be good. And Mark, related Mark Andrews is a star.
And you can cut Goff. It's a 10-team league. Cut Goff.
Oh yeah,
no need.
Fine.
Oh
okay.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Devontae Adams. Remember Devontae Adams this offseason, I think it was during the schedule release, was super pissed off at the Chargers. I think the Chargers called him trash, called him something like that. Week 1, he plays the Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm higher than the consensus, and everybody should be playing Devontae for DFS.
Yeah, wide receiver. He's a wide receiver 1 this week.
Yeah, like I don't know what his price is on DraftKings and stuff like that, but play Devontae Adams, bet Devontae Adams go 100 and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew is good enough to actually force feed a receiver. We saw that with Pittman and stuff like that last year. So fire up Devontae Adams. And now You got Deshaun Jackson, supposedly, according to Devontae, making up shit about how unhappy he is there with the Raiders. A lot of drama around Devontae. Devontae wants to prove people wrong. Devontae wants to say fuck you to the Chargers. Lots of things going on. So lock him in. Like this is the lock of lock.
Yeah, it's another thing where the Raiders have done like absolutely nothing to help their offensive line to really help their running game at all. They're going to need to throw short and quick. And who's better at getting open within 3 yards than Davante Adams in the NFL?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not afraid of the Chargers defense.
No.
Jonathan has Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Pacheco, Cooper, Kupp, Kelsey, Rice starting, Corum, Ferguson, D-Hop, Love, Montgomery, Schultz is my starting lineup. Good for who you have on the bench. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah, I could see starting. I would probably keep it, but I could see starting Hopkins over Rice.
I don't hate starting Montgomery over Rice either, but no, I'm fine. I'm fine with Rice. I mean, you have Rice and Kelsey. You're probably getting all the Chiefs passing in Thursday. And that'll be really fun to watch.
Make sure you have Rice at your wide receiver spot, not your flex. Just in case somebody goes down in practice and stuff, you want to have that flexibility.
Good call.
So
little things, man, about fantasy that can win a championship, doing shit like that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it too many times where people are screwed. Mike Williams, I have at 57, and I'm gonna move him up. It's just where I move him up to. Again, I think he's gonna be on a pitch count. I don't think he's just gonna be playing free. But this is a guy who I think is sneaky. I think you could trade for him on the low, and playing a secondary role. Like this feels like a James Jones like player for Aaron Rodgers.
Even week 1 too. Like Rodgers is the perfect guy, right? To just Mike Williams out there. Let's just throw 5 balls at him and see what he's got going.
Yeah, he's a field stretcher.
Yeah,
and a red zone guy, and he's the guy. He should be good.
Mike Williams was a guy that everybody was slobbering over in the Chargers just like 1-2 years ago for all his boom games, and now he's got the best player to ever throw the ball in NFL history throwing on the ball. I mean, what else do you need?
I agree. What I like doing is tanking week 1 to get the number 1 waiver. Do what you gotta do. I don't lose games on purpose. What difference does it make if you put someone at flex or receiver? If say you have Rice at flex and Amari Cooper gets hurt, you have DeAndre Hopkins, so you're probably fine. But if your flex spot locks up, then that means you have to replace Cooper with a receiver versus if you put Rice at receiver and Cooper was your flex and he was ruled out, then you could put in a receiver or a running back or a tight end.
Yep.
So it gives you more flexibility there. But yeah. Van Jefferson, I have at 73. Again, I'm probably going to move him up a little bit. He's super sneaky. Greg Dortch at 67, I think is super sneaky in terms of soaking up targets. Everyone has Christian Watson above Romeo Doubs except for me. Dobbs has a hand injury, but he's going to play. Who cares? Deshaun Watson can't catch anyway. Or not Deshaun Watson. I mean, he probably can't either. He can catch lawsuits.
Cases.
Christian Watson can't catch. Yeah, okay. So compared to the consensus, I am 8 higher. Weird. Okay, interesting. I'm 8 higher on Malik Neighbors at 13. I just think he's good.
Yeah, I agree.
Why are we ranking him low?
I mean, I assume everyone's ranking low for Daniel Jones. Like Malik, I'm not going to say he's quarterback proof yet because he hasn't shown anything, but I mean, he has all the potential, all the ability to be quarterback proof.
All I've heard is we need a guy. We got a guy. We need Daniel Jones to throw it 40 times. Who's he going to throw it to? Oh, the guy.
Yeah.
We don't need to overthink that one.
We also need to stop acting like Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback in the league. Like, he has no offensive line. I understand that, but throwing behind no offensive line doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. Yeah,
and theoretically, Dayball understands that Brian Flores is going to blitz it 80% of the time this week. So he has blitz beaters already in. So we shall see. Diggs, I have at 25, which is 4 higher. Diggs is going to complain if he doesn't get the ball. So he's not going to be like completely ignored.
Everyone's saying this Houston receiving core got better and maybe from talent, but did it get better? Did adding Stephon Diggs make this team better?
I agree. I don't think it made the team better. We shall see. He is sort of a head case. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm 6 higher on at 36, and I will be moving him even higher. I am 4 higher on Brian Thomas at 41. Talked about him a little bit yesterday or whenever that was. I'm coming up on Brian Thomas. Like, I just trust Doug Peterson too much, maybe. I am 8 higher on Romeo Doubs at 45, 6 higher on Khalil Shakir at 43, 9 higher on Curtis Samuel at 50, 9 higher on Van Jefferson at 73, and 6 higher on Jalen Tolbert at 75. I like all the players I just named. I think they're all going to have pretty good seasons.
Yeah, Van Jefferson too being ranked so low. Like I understand, but it feels like a little hypocritical for everyone saying that Pittsburgh had an incredible upgraded quarterback, which probably isn't true. But to rank a wide receiver 2 with an incredible upgraded quarterback, just it's hypocritical in my mind.
He just feels like the guy to benefit from Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like George Pickens isn't going to benefit that much, but Van Jefferson's going to be a guy that sneakily has 950 yards and 7 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
Something weird like that. Lower. I'm 4 lower on Puka at 12. I'm 6 lower on Amari Cooper at 28, probably a little too low. 6 lower on Tank Dell at 38. Again, Tank Dell's not the wide receiver 2 anymore, people. Come down a little bit. Christian Watson, I'm 9 lower on at 47. The dude can't even tell if he's like 20% stronger in one leg. Like, the dude's dumb. And 4 lower on Tyler Lockett, who's battling through injury. He's going to play, but I don't trust Seattle whatsoever this year.
Okay,
they keep dropping in faith for me.
So I'm going to be on the clock here in 1 pick, and I'm between Smith-Njigba and Jordan Addison.
Addison,
yeah. I don't know Smith-Njigba's role.
Yeah.
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I agree. He's such a good player. It feels like he has to have the ball. But to your point, like, what is Seattle this year?
And he's not really the guy to demand the ball. The person who will is dumbass DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. Don't like Seattle at all.
Or let me throw one more at you. We got Chase Brown in here, too. That is an option.
I would still go Addison probably, but I think Chase Brown I like more than Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other wide receiver before we move on to everyone's favorite position?
Yeah. A lot of question marks talking about Smith-Njigba. I mean, Roma Dunze. What is he?
I mean, you know how much I fucking love him. Everyone thinks he's going to beat out Keenan Allen, and someone needs to stand up for Keenan Allen, and I guess I'll do it. Like, why every year? Stop disrespecting him.
Yeah.
Just stop. He's so good at football. Roma Dunze is great. He's going to be an outstanding pro. He's the wide receiver 3.
Yeah, he's probably the 5th option on the offense, right?
At best 4th.
Yeah.
At best. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't get it. I have him at 53. I think the ball's going to get spread around a lot there, which is my worry for the receivers. But, yeah, I don't know. Don't love it. Anybody else?
Trevor, you got anyone?
No. Not off the top of my head, no.
Tight ends, we got Travis Kelce at 1. We have Sam Laporta 2 versus the Rams. We have Mark Andrews on Thursday night at the Chiefs at 3. And then I went Trey McBride 4 at Buffalo. And same game, Dalton Kincaid 5 versus the Cardinals. Bills are going to run a lot 12 personnel, so I think we'll see a lot of Knox and Kincaid on the field together. They are going to do that to try to run the ball. Neither are outstanding blockers, in my opinion. I don't think that necessarily makes them better at running the ball, but they're going to be big targets. There's going to be a lot of dink and dunk stuff. Dalton Kincaid can line up all over. I think this could be a pretty decent season for Dalton Kincaid. For all the people who were hyping him up, thinking he's going to have an insane rookie year, I think we could end up seeing that this year. We'll see, but potential is certainly there, especially after not really doing a ton at receiver. I think Curtis Samuel's featured. I think Keon Coleman's okay, but it's probably going to be Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel leading the show for receivers.
Yeah, I probably agree. I like the first three there to catch a touchdown. I like all three of them to catch a touchdown this week. Um,
Mhm.
I've been. You guys have kind of talked me into it. I'm still kind of not sold on Trey McBride yet this year. Like I want to, it's one of those ones. Everyone's got those guys. Like I just want to see it first.
He's
But
good.
I mean, to his credit, he's probably right. To a ceiling of 2, a floor of 3 option on that offense. So I don't hate it, especially with the how the tight end market is looking right now.
Maybe this will interest you. DeMar Hamlin named starting safety for the Bills.
Oh,
I think he
love it.
may end up covering
Yeah,
Trey
okay.
McBride a little bit.
I'm in.
Yeah.
One of the guys that has historically been up there in the top 5, George Kittle, you have him at 9. I'm assuming you have him in as more of a blocker against the Jets in probably what is going to be a grinded out game in New York.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm the 49ers, let's fucking keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. Let's run the ball. Let's not do anything stupid. Let's not make mistakes. I think they use George Kittle. It's just we didn't do our boom bust consistency rankings this year. George Kittle hasn't been that great.
No.
He's lost people a lot of weeks. And you look at the final stats and like combined, it's like, oh, George Kittle is a top 5 or top 10 guy, but it's because he had multiple weeks of multiple touchdowns. And then he had weeks where he did jack shit. And this week, it could go either way. I'm just not going to rank him super high and pretend that the volume's there because it's not.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, I'll talk about for our underdog picks. I love him this week. He's so good at football. And again, I think they're going to pass the ball more, and I just think that means Travis Kelce is going to have a better season. Last year, people are like, "Oh, he played the fewest snaps he's ever played. His stats came down." And it's like, yeah, he's not as good of a blocker, so he was off the field. And the clock kept running because they were running the football, so they had less snaps. So it makes no sense to really criticize Kelce. He's going to be okay. Kyle Pitts, hamstring injury. I think he's going to play through it. I have him at 11. I definitely lowered him, and I'm definitely lower than the masses. I'm 4 lower. So the consensus has Kyle Pitts at 7. And I think he's going to be featured a little bit more this year. But truthfully, fucking prove it. Like, I'm not going to rank him as a top 10 guy until he does it twice in a row. That's my promise.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kyle Pitts this year, but he does have to prove it. Like, I'm not going to be a guy that just blindly drafts him wherever he is. I have him in 2 leagues, and it's just because he fell so far. And I said, why not take a flyer? But, like, we've seen the story. So, I mean, that's the story of fantasy football, right? Everybody hyping guys up that is super talented and saying he's going to be incredible, and then they just never do it. Like, when are you finally going to learn?
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. And this is another game where if I'm Atlanta, I'm trying to run the ball. I'm not dropping back and passing and letting the Steelers tee off on our offensive linemen. So, and that wouldn't obviously be bad for Kyle Pitts. If they're running the ball, I would assume he's not in the game that much.
Yep.
Other tight ends, Zach Ertz feels like the biggest sleep of the century, if that makes sense.
What up, Mega Brick?
Yeah, what's up, Mega Brick? Zach Ertz is the starter, and he's going to be one of the top tight end pickups next week. I can guarantee it. It's every year. Last year, this happened because he had 10 targets in week 1 or something.
Yeah.
What's his stupid face? Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator. It's the guy who loves him, and he's thrived under. And it's a rookie quarterback. Like, I am at 18. Let's see how much higher I am than everybody. 18, right? Yeah, I'm at 18, and that is 7 spots higher than the consensus. I will bring him higher. And if I was in a position where I drafted Kyle Pitts, got really stuck with him, really couldn't get a backup, and I have Zach Ertz there, I'm thinking really hard. I may play Zach Ertz above him, especially if it's PPR, because I do think Zach Ertz has a 6-catch, 50-yard game, which isn't terrible for a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, it's either 11 or 8.5 points, so.
Mega Brick, there's no such thing as an off-topic question on this stream, as you will find out if Randy is still here, but we'll answer your on-topic question first. Full PPR start 1, Pittman, Palmer, Zamir White. I think I'm going Pittman. Yeah.
Pittman.
Yeah.
Yeah, best player here.
Yeah, it's not Palmer. All pass catchers for the Chargers, I am pausing until we see what's going on. And Zamir White, don't trust to score. Don't trust to average more than 3 yards per carry. He's fine, but that offense could be pretty bad. Favorite NFL team kit of all time? Do you guys
Is
got?
this guy from England? Who else calls it a kit?
Interesting.
I don't know.
I respect it either way. It's nostalgic for me. It's not the best, but it's nostalgic. The powder blue Chargers, Londanian Tomlinson jerseys. When I fell in love with football, I was a big LT fan when I was a kid. So those would have to be it for me.
Yeah, I'm going Atlanta Dirty Bird All Blacks.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I think that would be my answer. I think of the minority of people I talk to, I like that supercharged lime green Seahawks.
Yeah,
those are nice.
Really? Okay, I've heard a lot of people shit on them. I like them.
I'm changing my answer from the Blacks. That's number 2. Number 1 was Tennessee wearing the Oilers last year.
Changing your answer from the Blacks, you said, Luke?
Yeah.
Honorable mention for me is the
Oilers, though, for sure.
The old Patriots one that they wore in the Super Bowl against Brett Favre. Those were nice.
If I call it a jersey, you're going to say a player's name and number.
No, we won't.
I don't think so. No.
Fair enough. I see where you're going.
We're deep. We're deep thinkers like you. We get it.
Yeah, make a brick. Stick with us this year. I think you'll have some fun on this show.
Yes. I do enjoy that Randy dropped in immediately and then just dipped. And I can only assume he's going to come in at the end with a million questions that are not related to fantasy football. And you enjoy that as well.
I have kind of an underrated fun jersey that is probably gets a lot of hate, and it's probably do so. Those Jaguars mustard.
No.
They are gross.
No. I love those, man.
Bad.
If you think of those jerseys, the whole kits, shout out Mega Brick. What player are you thinking of? If you're thinking of who's in that jersey,
there's only 2, right? It's Bortles or Fournette.
Yep.
I don't think so.
Jalen Ramsey maybe, but I think of Bortles every time.
Okay. I for some reason the default Jaguar now is Laviska Shenault for me.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think of him a lot. And then Michael Thomas. There's a second Michael Thomas I think was there.
Tebow.
Tebow? Maybe Tebow. But yeah, there are some bad Jaguars jerseys and players. Other tight ends here. Luke Musgrave is weird. Obviously, we're Packer fans. Tucker Kraft is a little bit banged up still. What's your thoughts on Luke Musgrave? I am at 21. Everyone's super low on him. I don't think there's going to be consistency, which is the issue with him, I think, for the most part. But he should see an expanded role this year, I think, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a stud. We talked at length about him during the draft process. I think this is probably too many mouths to feed offense for a team that really wants to get that run game going. If he was on a different situation, say if he was in Washington, he might be a top 10 tight end this week. I think it just comes at the cost of too many mouths to feed. But Luke Musgrave, to me, at least for a full season, seems like a 75 or 750 yard, 5 to 7 touchdown guy to me.
I mean, he didn't play a ton of games, but he had a tight end 10, tight end 11, tight end 12, tight end 7 in a shortened season straight off the bat as a rookie. Not too bad. Again, to your point, though, too many mouths to feed. That's why I'm personally staying away from every single Packers receiver tight end until something changes. But you can definitely do worse than him for sure.
He did have a couple plays early last year that were stupid defensive collapses where there's 30-yard middle tight end screen that nobody was there.
The Tunyon special?
The Tunyon special, yeah. Just do jumping jacks 40 yards down the field. The best thing with Musgrave quickly is that he can block super well. I think arguably he's the best tight end in the running game for the Packers as well. So
for sure,
the fact that he's extremely athletic and he can block, he should be incredible. He should be a Delaney Walker, Vernon Davis type, but we'll see if the Packers use him that way.
Yeah. Let me throw something at you guys here. Just another draft question. We're in the 11th round here. It's 12-team, half PPR. I'm still without a tight end. Pat Freiermuth sitting on the board. Dalton Schultz is sitting on the board. Tyler Conklin sitting on the board. I have two picks in the next 8 picks. Do you think I can probably skip out on one of those guys, go with Curtis Samuel, and then get who's ever left coming back, right?
And I'm going Conklin. I like
That's what I would do.
I can't trust him, though.
Freiermuth's my pick of 3, but yeah, that's what I would do. I would pass and then just take whoever's there. Left. Yeah. Team that finishes with the worst record, Panthers, right? Panthers or Patriots? Which one?
Yeah, don't overthink it. It's Panthers or Patriots. I'll go with the Patriots. I'll root a little bit for Carolina this year. I think Bryce is a little bit better than people think.
Same with Patriots. I know Carolina's going to squeak out 3 wins against that division, 2-3 wins somehow. Patriots, I don't think they're beating I think they will beat the Bills for sure, at least once. But I don't think they're beating Miami or the Jets. So
Patriots at least has a defense.
That's
Carolina's true. Like, let's just trade away a pass rusher and then we'll just play drop back zone. We'll see what happens.
To play devil's advocate for you, Trevor, it's a bet that I absolutely love that I saw a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like plus 2,600 for Carolina to go 0-6 in the division this year.
That's great value.
I'm sure that value's changed now that we're closer, but when I saw it, I love that.
Yeah. Why would anyone think this team turns around?
It looks like we got 2 more questions from Mega Brick.
Yep. So Engram must start this week, full PPR. No, nobody's a must start, but I would start him. He's like 5 for me, I believe. Full rankings up on FLURRYSports.org once again. Did I reach for Amon-Ra with the 4th pick in a 12-man full PPR? No, because he's not going to be a bust. So
no. Especially if he's
if he's your guy and you like him, go for it. He's not my 4th overall best player, but that's fine.
I do the same thing every year, like the past 3 years, and I did it again this year in all my drafts, where I think I underrated Amon-Ra St. Brown because I hate him, but he is a very good player.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, I mean, it depends when you drafted, right? Like if you drafted before CeeDee Lamb got his contract done, I mean, and you thought there was a possibility that he didn't do it. Jamar Chase looks like he's going to play, but I mean, what does he come back at? Zach, to your point, CeeDee Lamb, is he completely up to speed? Not that I don't think at the end of the season he's going to beat him out, but to your point, he's a much safer value. So,
yeah. I also, you guys ever listen to Amon-Ra's show?
No, not really.
That
just
dude
clips.
Sucks at interviewing players.
He's not good.
I mean, so does every other player podcast.
Right. But he's even a guy where, like, I don't know how people listen. Just no emotion. And I know it's probably a juggernaut, like saying the Kelce's are there and Will Compton, Taylor Lewan, like those guys are probably out of the stratosphere. But I don't know why people are going to Amon-Ra St. Brown's show. Like, it's got to be all Lions fans.
Yeah.
Is EQ there every week, or does he just come on sometimes?
Sometimes.
From the clips, I've only seen him pop in.
Okay. The only clips I've seen of that show are with EQ.
Also, I got a dynasty question for you guys.
Okay.
My dynasty team in the league where I actually have a team that's good, I have Josh Allen, then I have Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones might die any week. Same with Anthony Richardson. Henry has put Deshaun Watson on the trade block, said for pick value he wants a couple of seconds. Is Deshaun Watson worth that, or is he not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not trading for Deshaun Watson. I was actually out of those. I would say you should get rid of Anthony Richardson. Oh, is it 2-quarterback league?
It's still 1 quarterback.
Yeah, then I think you should try to get rid of Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think so too. But in terms of should you trade for Deshaun Watson for 2 seconds, I mean, that's a fair trade. But yeah, I do not hate trading away Anthony Richardson whatsoever.
I have a question for Mega Brick, if he's still in the chat.
Go ahead.
Did he name his name after Russell Westbrook?
Very good. Very good. Tight ends compared to the consensus, I'm 4 higher and Jake Ferguson at 6. I can assume he's going to get peppered with targets this week. 4 higher on Ben Sinnott at 27, which is interesting since I am 7 ahead of higher on Zach Ertz as well at 18. 8 higher on Hayden Hurst at 28. 8 higher on Josh Oliver at 34. 5 higher on Johnny Munt at 35. Everyone's kind of assuming Johnny Munt's the starter in Minnesota, and I am not. I think it's going to be by committee, but I think Josh Oliver, I mean, he has the familiarity with the offense, and I think he may be better. In terms of lower, I'm 4 lower on Taysom, 4 lower on Kyle Pitts at 11. I'm 16 lower on Taysom Hill at 29. Taysom Hill is ranked 13th.
Crazy.
By the consensus. Yeah. This happened last year every week.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing this? And I got burnt so many fucking times because he had a stupid random touchdown. But this is not good. This is not. And he's labeled as a tight end this year, by the way. So presumably less red zone packages. We'll see. I don't know. I don't like ranking him that high. It doesn't make sense. And then I'm also 11 lower on Isaiah Likely at 38. Isaiah Likely isn't very good when Mark Andrews plays. And he showed last year he's also not very good when Mark Andrews does not play. So I think we can stop with the Isaiah Likely stuff as well. The dude, he's been given the opportunities. So just trust what the player shows you.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about Underdog. And we have a segment that we're going to be doing every single week. We're going to be giving out Underdog picks. And of course, we have a video to cue up our segment. So here we go.
This is the Dogs! This is Sanford, baby! This is how we do it for the Dogs! Go, Georgia! Woo!
Who's got that dog in him? Our Underdog
yeah.
segment every single week. Go to underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with promo code FLURRY for a $1,000 deposit match. You also get, if you sign up right now, you have to sign up now or tomorrow, but you get a free half-yard Travis Kelce square. So you sign up, you get free money for your deposit, and then you can take higher 1/2 of a yard on Travis Kelce. It's a freebie. You make more money, you feel good, and you can lock in these props, these pick'em projections that we're about to give you. We have 3 for the season, which again, you do have to lock in now. And then we have 3 for this week as well. Let's start with our weekly ones because I will talk about Travis Kelce because he is the one that I am choosing. I have Travis Kelce going higher than 55.5 receiving yards. Again, we talked about last year, the Chiefs ran the ball a lot more, right? So he was off the field because he's not as good of a blocker, and they had less plays because they were running the ball. Regardless, Travis Kelce still went higher than 55.5 receiving yards, over 68% of the time. He has gone, he went for 116 yards against the Ravens last season. He has gone for over 70 yards in all 6 times he's played the Ravens in his career, and he averaged 71.6 yards per game at home last season. 55.5 is a slap in the face. Luke, earlier in the show, you said that he's going to score a touchdown. I love that as well. Travis Kelce is going to have a good week. I think it's a lock.
And who plays better in big games than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? Like the first game, it might be a 56-yard touchdown to start the game.
And they just got done. People keep feeding him. They're like, "Oh, Travis, are you going to take a lesser role? Are you slowing down? Are you at the end of his career?" And he's like, "No, I want a bigger role this year." And with that in mind, he's probably going to get that. He's going to be motivated to do that. So 55.5 receiving yards, it may happen in the first half. Like he's going to be it. This is a lock. I love it. Luke, what's your weekly Underdog pick?
I think that this may be my favorite pick ever. I am taking Khalil Mack over half a sack. Like this is a revenge game. This Raiders offensive line is fucking horrible. This feels like we see it how many times every single year, at least once every year where Khalil Mack like racks up a 4 or 5 sack game. I really feel like this can be it. This dude is healthy. This dude is ready to go, and someone's going to need to produce on this Chargers defense with Joey Bosa's injury. I think Khalil Mack just destroys this Raiders offensive line. I'm all in on Khalil Mack.
Trevor?
About Khalil Mack, it's going to happen. He's going to get a sack. I'd feel confident of taking it if it was 1.5.
Yeah.
Just because the odds would be great. Mine for the week is Andrews over 4.5 receptions. I understand that last year he didn't have very many with 5 receptions, but he's coming back. They're going to want to get him involved early. I see them getting him at least 2 receptions in the first drive, or at least 3 targets, and he's coming down with it if it's going to him. So you're telling me he has to get 3 catches total in the next drives for the rest of the game. I think he gets that. I think they have to get him going, and I think he comes back with a statement with like 6, 7, 8 catches for like 90 yards and a touchdown, something like that.
Yeah, I like that as well. So if you lock in those 3 projections together, you can get 6 times your money. But Underdog has a new game feature right now. And by the way, if you're watching, you can scan the QR code. It'll take you to Underdog. You can download the app. Use promo code FLURRY, FLURRY, on your deposit to get that match, to get that Travis Kelce promo, and to get more promos throughout the week. There's another very good one coming on Sunday. But there's a new game on Underdog called Streaks. You lock in 2 picks. If you get it correct, then you lock in 1 more. Then you lock in 1 more. Then you lock in 1 more. All the way up. And there's a new cash out feature that we just added. And that's incredible. So you can cash out your money, and that's good. But you can go all the way up to like $10,000. This is how we should play it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Trevor and I both gave you Thursday Night Football once. So put in the Travis Kelce, put in the Mark Andrews. We're going to hit both of those, then put in the Khalil Mack sack for Sunday. Then you got 3, and then let's keep rolling it over. It's going to be incredible. We have 4 straight days of NFL football. So maybe lock in 1 for the Eagles-Packers game. And then after you win that, then lock in the Khalil Mack. And then you'll do 1 for Jets and 49ers on Monday. Super easy. But there's also season-long pick'em. And let's go over our season-long pick'em ones. And I'm going to do one that we all essentially said already this show that we really liked. Baker Mayfield's passing yards. It's set at 3,665.5.
Yep.
365. He had over 4,000 last year.
Yep.
Offensive line is better. His defense is arguably worse. He's in a comfortable situation. Why wouldn't it's so easy? It's
The only way he doesn't get it is if he gets hurt. That's the only way.
Yeah. It seems like an absolute lock. I absolutely love it. 4,000 seems like, again, 4,000 seems like the floor, but he has a 400-yard cushion then.
Right.
So, like, I really like that one. Luke,
Yep.
what's the season long?
It's going to be Devontae Adams over 1,050.5 yards. He hasn't gone under that since 2019, and he only played 12 games. So if we're, and he was at like 990. So give him 4 more games, he goes over that. Like, he hasn't gone under it since, before he was considered the best receiver in the NFL. I'm not worried about the Raiders' passing game situation. Devontae Adams is the definition of quarterback proof. 100 yards, 100 receptions is, guaranteed for Devontae Adams this year, and that feels like an easy 1,100 yards out of him. So I think that is free money right there.
There's no way. You go ahead.
Raiders probably playing down in a lot of games.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew, like you had mentioned before, Zach, if he finds a guy, he's going to throw to him. And Adams is probably one of the best guys to do that.
There's no way anybody actually believes not Baker Mayfield. Gardner Minshew is a worse option than Aiden O'Connell.
I know, it's crazy.
There's no shot. And by the way, if he is, then Aiden O'Connell is going to play. And to your point, I had to look it up because it kind of surprises me. Devontae Adams was so bad last year. So bad. He had 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns and over 100 catches.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like the floor.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And now there's no Josh Jacobs. Right. Josh Jacobs, like, okay, he's going to get 400 touches. Now they have to pass it more. This is easy. Easy stuff. Trevor, what's yours?
Mine goes off of yours, Zach. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. Justin Herbert over 3,600.5 passing yards. He would have to average 211 per game to get that if he played 17 games, and he was only under that twice last season, and one of them was against the Jets. Last year in 13 games, he passed for 3150. Like, he's going to stay on the field. Yeah, they might run it more, but again, 211 yards per game. Like, that's easy money. I don't understand how he doesn't hit it if he's on the field. It just doesn't make sense. The lowest passing total before in a full season is 4,300. Is he going to lose 700 yards in Harbaugh's scheme? No way.
It does feel risky to take a quarterback who's already hurt, though. That's
true.
the only reason why it's not locked to me. People are going a little too far on the whole Greg Roman thing. Like, Greg Roman wants to run the football. He's going to run the football. I understand that the Chargers are now a running football team, but people are acting like he's going to throw the ball as few times as Lamar Jackson. And let's remember, Lamar Jackson's a running quarterback and Justin Herbert's not. Like, Greg Roman's not going to be like, nope, you are Lamar Jackson. Like, that's just not going to happen. He's going to throw the football because that's what he's good at doing.
How long was Greg Roman in Baltimore? Do you know?
4 years.
Was he there for Lamar's first MVP?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, he must have been.
If he was, Lamar led the NFL in passing that year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Justin Herbert's wide receiver 1 might be one of us this year. There's a chance. Like, yeah, I think we could compete for it. But, I mean, he was passing to Josh Palmer last year, and it was fine. I do believe Quentin Johnston's going to have a better year. I do think Ladd McConkey is solid. I think he's really good. So, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. That's an easy one, assuming he's on the field. And that does scare me. But assuming he's on the field, he should be fine. And his offensive line is pretty good. Which 2 wide receivers would you start this week out of Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Zay Flowers, and Rashee Rice? I think Waddle's a lock for me.
Yeah, his injury doesn't scare me at all.
No, I think my answer is Devontae Smith, but I'll look at my rankings while you guys give your answer.
You're right. Waddle's the lock. I'm personally gonna go with Rashee Rice. I can see a scenario where Baltimore puts everything in the basket of Kelsey and they just force feed Rice. I don't think Flowers deserves to be in this conversation personally, but I am a lot lower on Zay Flowers historically than everybody else.
Yeah, I'm going to Devontae Smith here. I think he's probably he's probably the number 2 out of that 4. Pitar, I'm curious. Like, I don't hate going Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Rashee Rice for 2 receivers in a flex. I assume your flex, you're pretty comfortable with your flex if you're asking for 2. So either way, it sounds like you have a pretty good team if this is what you have to decide between.
Yeah, I like all those players, to be honest, and I am high on Zay Flowers. According to my rankings, I do have Rashee Rice at 23 and Devontae Smith at 26. So they're close. I think they're interchangeable. If you want someone to watch on Thursday night, obviously you go with Rashee. If you want to take a little bit longer to make the decision, then you got Devontae Smith on Friday. So, it's all about fun too. I don't think you have a bad option though. Yeah. I think Rashee Rice is probably a bit safer than Devontae Smith, to be honest.
Yeah. I like the risk a little bit more with Devontae Smith, given the reward that's available.
Yeah. If there's we could see the Packers. We're Packer fans. We could see the Packers clamping on AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, is the one who gets left alone. I could see that. I could see him having a massive game. But if for whatever reason the Packers are like, you know what, AJ Brown's going to do AJ Brown things, and we just got to make sure nobody else beats us. Like, I think you can shut Devontae Smith out of a game. Like, I don't think he's so good that you can't stop him. Whereas I think AJ Brown is kind of like that player. So we'll see. I don't think you have a bad choice, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Rashee Rice is going to get touches. He is. Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got something. I got a little fun five ranking here that I thought of this morning, and I probably researched it too much at work for the probably minute segment that it's going to be. I power ranked the the top 5 remaining scoregami opportunities.
Okay. Before you start, do you know offhand how many scoregamis are left?
A ton.
In like reasonable scoring, obviously.
Not a lot. Like under 30, not a lot. But if you like expand that to a 40, 50, then it opens up a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
And number 5 is 69-0 because that's just funny.
That is funny. That's a great one. That would go down in history.
Yep. Number 4 is 32-26. I really like the thought of a game going to overtime at 26-26 and then ending 32-26.
You painted the picture, and I'll buy it. That does sound fun.
Yeah. Number 3 is one that feels like the most unreasonable one. It is 12-11.
Now you're speaking my language. That sounds like the greatest. It sounds like a great college football game between Army and Navy. But
yeah, that's Iowa State.
Yeah, that too. But that would be fantastic.
Number 2 is 4-4.
That would be an insane game.
Yep. And to round off the list, it is 8-1.
Is that even possible?
Yeah, you get a 1-point safety.
Yeah, but it would have to be an extra. I guess a touchdown, 1-point safety, and then you get a safety. I guess so.
Yep.
I don't think it counts for 1 point.
According to Scoregami, the website, that is an available Scoregami.
I believe there is a 1-point safety. I think I saw one in a Badger game not too long ago.
In college? Or is this including all football?
Nope, NFL.
I don't think that's correct.
Pull up the Scoregami.
I'm on it.
I don't mean to doubt Mr. Scoregami, but that seems pretty unreasonable.
Which was why it would be the best.
It looks like they do have a 1-point safety in the NFL.
So, in this scenario,
yep,
there was already a safety. They got 2 points.
And well, there has to be a safety at some point.
Right. And then they score a touchdown, and then on the extra point, then there's a safety.
Correct.
I'd like to think it would be like that Louisiana Tech clip where the kick gets blocked and then nobody can pick up the football for the next 60 yards down the field.
Does seem that way. That or there's a streaker on the field. No, wait, no, they have all their clothes on. It's Luke Reimer with a Scoregami shirt on, just desperately wanting to make this happen.
Or Troy Polamalu punches it out of the back of the end zone from the 50.
Does Troy Polamalu have kids? He has to, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be scary.
He was banging women.
For sure. But that's true. That's a good point. That's a fantastic point. Okay. Well, I think this was a solid first episode of Fantasy Football by Committee for the 2024 season. Every single Wednesday night, we are going live here with Fantasy Football. Typically, we will have another show immediately after this talking about the Green Bay Packers with Lombardi Sweep. Not doing it this week. You know what's going to happen. Packers are going to Brazil, and they're probably going to lose, and that's fine. That's fine.
For everyone who was following the storyline, I did not get any of those 3 tight ends, and I ended up with Hunter Henry for like the 18th straight year.
Is Hunter Henry any worse than them, though?
No, it's his year.
Yeah. Brissett's going to fucking lock on to him. He's going to be good this year. I can guarantee it. Yeah, that's and I'm assuming Zach Ertz is still available, right?
That's who I'm going right now.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, this was Fantasy Football by Committee. Definitely subscribe and definitely check out our daily sports trivia videos every single weekday on the FLURRY Sports YouTube channel. They're 2 minutes long. You learn 5 sports facts. That means 10 minutes every single week, and you will learn 25 sports facts. Pretty good sports trivia, pretty good math by me on the spot.